Evelyn couldn't escape the truth any longer. The darkness she summoned to control her life had instead condemned her to an existence filled with regret. One stormy evening, Mark, overwhelmed with the emotional weight of their shared past, confronted Evelyn. "What happened to Maya and Jasmine?" "I can't escape the idea that something isn't right," he demanded, his voice quaking with unresolved emotion. For the first time, Evelyn's carefully constructed world began to crumble. The web of lies she had spun fell apart under the weight of Mark's scrutiny, exposing her manipulations and the lengths she had gone to secure her place in his heart. In that moment, the truth exploded. Jealousy had morphed into a deadly obsession, and Evelyn realized she had sacrificed far more than she could ever regain. Standing amidst the wreckage of their altered lives, Evelyn understood that what she had sought, a return to love and family, had instead led her to a darkness from which she couldn't return. As Evelyn knelt on the floor, tears streaming down her face and her heart racing, she watched Mark's expression shift from confusion to sheer disbelief. The weight of her confession hung heavily between them, a tangible force that suffocated the air in the room. "You killed them, Evelyn," Mark finally said, his voice low and trembling with outrage. "You took away the mothers of my children. Do you even understand what you've done?" His eyes ignited with a mix of anger and heartbreak. "I was scared, Mark," she pleaded, desperation lacing her words. "I thought if I could control the situation, we could go back to being a family. I never meant for it to end like this." "But you didn't just end it. You destroyed their lives. You killed them," he shouted, his fury rising as the reality of her betrayal settled deeper into his soul. "And what about our children? What kind of mother are you, if you think those actions were justified?" Evelyn felt her heart plummet further. The reality of her actions, colliding with the love she had once believed, was enough to save them. "I love you, Mark. I didn't know what else to do," she cried. But Mark wasn't swayed by her protests. "You think love excuses murder? You think that you can just wipe away your guilt with a few tearful apologies? You need help, Evelyn. You've become a danger, not just to yourself but to everyone around you." As the anger simmered inside him, a new thought struck him like a lightning bolt. "And let's not forget, your baby isn't even mine. You were carrying Adam's child while you were with me," he accused, each word landing like a hammer blow. "What kind of twisted game have you been playing?" The magnitude of Mark's realization sent a jolt through Evelyn. She had been so consumed by jealousy and guilt that she hadn't considered how her actions had tainted their relationship. In a moment of vulnerability, she had allowed her darkest impulses to dictate her life, resulting in grave consequences. "You don't understand," she screamed. I thought we could still make this work." "Make what work?" Mark retorted, his voice rising in disbelief. "You think we could be a family when you've sacrificed 2 innocent lives to keep me? I can't do this. I can't stay in this house any longer, not with what you've done." As he stepped away from her, a cruel clarity washed over him. He reached for his phone, dialing 911 with shaking hands. "I'm calling the police. You need to be held accountable for what you've done." Evelyn's eyes widened in horror. "No. Mark, please. Don't do this. I'll change. I'll get help." Panic surged through her as she struggled to regain control. The walls of her world threatened to crumble beneath the weight of her choices. Mark's gaze bore into her, cold and unyielding. "You've already made your choices, Evelyn. You can't take back the lives you've ended. I'm doing this for the kids. They deserve parents who are stable, who are safe. You are not that person anymore." The line connected, and Mark spoke with authority, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Yes, I'd like to report a crime. My wife has murdered 2 women. I need someone to come here now." Evelyn watched in despair as the reality of her isolation sunk in. The one person she had believed would understand and forgive her was now on the precipice of turning her life into a nightmare. Desperation clawed at her heart. She knew she had crossed an irreparable line, but she couldn't bear the thought of losing everything she had left, her family, her children. As the police arrived, Evelyn felt a deep sense of dread fill her. The reality of her actions rushed back, crushing her spirit. Mark spoke with the officers, recounting the events of the past months and the tragedy that had unfolded. She could see their flickering glances toward her,